Great day, great people. Dean K, Urban Success University. And I want to ask you a very serious question. Would you trust me to teach your children about Jesus? Tell you where I got that question from. I'm Baptist College Kojic. Grown up in the black church my entire life. I began on the knee of Amazing Grace Banks Sullivan. That's the boss. Zion Baptist Church, North Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Y'all know her husband, Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan. I was passed like a baton over the temple when Mama Grace and Sully were leaving Zion when I'm about 8.5. Passed me like a baton over temple to Billy Badass, Mr. Bright Hope, William Gray III. Now to y'all, he was your pastor. To y'all, he was your congressman, your chairman of the United Negro College Fund. Now I tried to told y'all, this here little pandemic thing that we just went through wasn't a crisis, it was a crossover. You know who he was to me? He was my Moses to the game. He was my crossover coach. I'm going to tell you something though. Even though we had these strong, powerful fathers of ministry, y'all know where all our mamas got together at? Uptown Philadelphia. Mommy Central of Philadelphia. The Mount Airy Church of God and Christ. I ain't talking about the big cathedral at Ogontz and Shelton Avenue. I'm talking about up 78. You know how we got that big cathedral? Mama Mars. Now shout out to Bishop Mars, right? He is the GOAT, right? But Mama Mars, you know, she released a word on me as a baby. God gonna use you for little boys like you. That done manifested. Listen to me. And the reason is because my spiritual mama, Cynthia Dolores Nottage Tucker, Whitfield Nottage baby girl. She lived uptown. All the mamas was up there. You know, she founded this Martin Luther King Jr. Association. Her and Coretta Scott were besties. Her big sister, Coretta, big sister, the great ESBZ, Edith Scott Bagley. And you know they bestie. Rosa Louise Macaulay. That means Macaulay daughter. Parks. So anyway, I know it like it was yesterday. I promise you. My big brother Will died 1992. Had a lot of anger inside of me. My uncles, they kept me close. Mama Nottage. You know, how mamas be, you know, they be protesting and stuff. That's what they like to do, the little civil rights thing and all that. She was protesting for gangster rap. Now I'm gonna tell you, Mama Nottage, that is Whitfield Nottage's daughter. That's Capilda Nottage's daughter. That's like prophetessness to the umph degree. Like that though. You understand what I'm saying the way I just told you? Cool. So she had no problem with hip hop. All right. You know, she had no problem. Matter of fact, she loved the fact of us having a platform for us to be able to culturally express ourselves. But, you know, this is a prophetess's daughter. So you know what she's real big on? Us understanding the biblical principle that life and death is in the power of our tongue. Meaning any circumstance or situation we agree with, we speak life to. Any circumstance, situation we disagree with, we speak death to. You know, we run around talking about bitches ain't shit, but hoes and tricks. Be licking on the nuts and be sucking the dick. Fast forward the video tape. Now our daughters got to deal with this over-sexualized culture. This social media pressure attempting to objectify them. They got to launch a brains over boobs challenge. And that's all Mama Nottage was trying to get us to understand. Like, you know what I mean? Like that though. Anyway, It's one thing when it's big up top. You know, you see Jay-Z write something. You see Pac write something. Those are corporate disagreements. You know what I'm talking about? Like Pac said himself. Listen, we ain't got no problem with you, mama. Right? But you got to understand what it's like. You know, Biggie described our adolescent development in the early 90s when he prophetically said it's hard being young from the slums, eating 5-cent gums, not knowing where your meal coming from. We ain't had these microprocessors in our pocket. We ain't had the ability to open up an LLC and get availability to this business credit like our children could. Biggie said, no, that it was not our reality up north in the 90s. Richard Allen, Andor, Best-Stuy, Andor, Long Island City, Queen, you know, them projects, pissy staircases, gunshots consistently going over the jungle gym. No, our methods of escape, either you slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. It didn't mean we were bad boys. I mean, even though, you know what I'm talking about? It meant it's a difference between morality and survival. Morality says I know what I want to do, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what's in line with my spirit. Survival says I got to do what I got to do. So we felt like we had to, you know what I mean, do what we got to do. But then it was a little young buck who disrespect mom and knowledge. Boom, I cracked him. Bing, pow. Ended up, and it was called Cornwall Heights back then, 3701 Old Trevose Lane. But you know what I mean, if you know, spiritual pop is a retired congressman, and your spiritual mama used to be, you know what I mean, the former associate, Secretary of State. You know what I mean? Like that though, boom. So next thing you know, that was 93. Next thing you know, it was 94, because 93 they made King Holiday the day of service. So King Holiday 94 was July 17th, 1994. The next day, after the bag celebration and all that, Dexter killed the youth department. Now, look, bro, I ain't in Atlanta. I don't know nothing about that. All I know is, you know, the old Fourth Ward was at his neck, at Isaac neck. And Yoki, you know, being a great yoke meister, she had calmed it down. You know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom. But, you know what I mean? Isaac, hey, look, so they asked me to come through and kind of bridge the gap because I had grown up, you know what I mean, in the church and all that. Joe, Uncle Jersey Joe, Pastor Joseph Lawrence Roberts, he ain't had nobody down there that could really be gritty but really rooted in the word, that go out there. They don't know which one of the young bucks is going to be. Boom, 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 boom. Hook me up with Deacon Marvin Brinson. My brovo got a freaking barbershop on Edgewood. Let's get it. I like this. I like these Southern women. You know what I mean? Like that though. So, you know, fast forward the videotape. I ended up at Ebenezer and Joe Roberts become my shepherding pop. Now, you know what I mean? Like 10 years later, my spiritual pop retiring, my mentor, shepherding mentor, Joe retiring, and we get Warnock. I don't know Warnock. I know his do boy though. Like Shannon Jones. Like, hold on. I don't know about Warnock. They said you had some shit going on in Baltimore. Ain't gonna get into all that. But my nigga, you hired Shannon Jones? No, none of us fuck with this nigga. We all know we feel like there's some goofy shit going on up there at New Birth, and this nigga was Eddie Long press secretary. So you bring him in, all right, my nigga, we gonna let you do whatever you wanna do. Coretta dying. My brother had just died. It was a little sticky. You know, Yoki died, and the OG's like, yo, watch the kids. I'm asking Joe, I'm looking at stuff that go on, it don't feel good. He like, listen, watch the kids. Like, what? Just watch the kids. I'm like, yo, listen, it's hard. Watch the kids. It's going to grow you. Watch the kids. Stay away from these dudes and watch the kids. Boom. 2011, I threw a watch night party. And the next week in January, my mother died. That's hard. March 15th, 2011, Amazing Grace Banks Sullivan died. Extra hard. June 11th, E.S. Beasy, Coretta Big Sister, died. Extra hard. August 18th, 2011, my grandfather's second wife, Amelia Isadora Platts Boynton Robinson, got a 100th birthday party. I got it at the King Center. I'm right there. Warnock don't come. Shannon don't come. Isaac don't come. Show no respect. Shout out to Martin Luther King III. He came down. Boom. We kicking. Warnock is ordaining, my young buck Mikey, ordaining Shannon. Shannon say, my best friend, rewind the videotape. I missed it. My best friend died December the 10th, 2003. All right. It was Wednesday night for the previous 7 weeks. We had always got together after Bible study down there in Columbus. We having a little pool game at the little pool hall on Buena Vista Road. Anyway, Yoki called me, told me to meet her up at the Heritage Sanctuary. So I'm not with my friends. That same night, my friends get pulled over. My best friend sitting in the seat, he in the back rear seat where I would typically be sitting. All my friends get pulled out. He gets shot point blank range by the Muscogee County Sheriff's Department with a fully automatic assault rifle. They never claimed he had a gun. Okay? That point forward, right? Like, all right, this Yoki divine intervention just saved my life, and my best friend died. We've been fighting for black boys against police brutality, abuses of power, prison ministry, reentry, all that. We fighting for young black boys, recidivism, all that. That's what we on. Boom. Now, we got our own individual Bible studies up north. We got them down south. Boom, boom, boom. Bill Gray is pushing us. You know what I mean? Joe Roberts pushing us. Kevin Gray come in, or Johnson, excuse me, and Warnock. And it's nothing wrong with them. They just not from the streets. They nerdy. So, tunnel vision, they want institution. We like, all right, that's cool for our mamas. That's cool for our parents. But that don't kick it with us or our kids. So y'all go ahead and do y'all, we outside with it. Like, boom. Now, Kevin Johnson had Justin, my young buck. It was cool. KJ ain't really do nothing. My biggest problem with Kevin Johnson is his initials. He ain't do nothing. You know what I mean? Like that folk were hating on him. Now, whatever. Anyway, so Shannon, because he got control of Warnock shit, stiff off everything, rough and rugged. Mama's died. Fuck all that. Fuck this nigga. Boom. We launched Christ Platoon. We literally took the most rough, rugged, raw, dope corner in North Philadelphia and turned it to the sanctuary. I rewind the videotape. It's emotional for me. I be forgetting it, putting it into context. Yolanda died 2007. I think we got VAPS behind the wall in the Philly prisons like probably 2008. So now we've been behind the wall for like, that's what it was. We was behind the wall with it for like 3.5, 4 years. So I'm trying to tell Shannon, yo, Pete, this, what we doing for the gospel. He big on the political stuff, but the furtherance of the gospel, this don't even move him. We start realizing, my man is really a frosted flake. Anyway, boom, fast forward. We launched the sanctuary. Now we got cats from behind the wall coming. It's love. Boom. The next year we launched the Edith Scott Bagley campus of Urban Success University in Wilmington, Delaware. Boom. We popping. Boom, like that. And then right before the school year kicked off, Bill Gray died. Like, oh my jeez, oh Pete's, right? And so we pushing. And January 2014, my father died. Like, so we pushing, and Joe sick. So we pushing, and we coming up on this new the United Nations is pushing this decade global celebration of people of African descent. You got to understand, Joseph Lawrence Roberts was used by God to build the Horizon Sanctuary. So he going to hold on to that because it's the reason all this Afrocentric crosses are there, so that we understand as a younger generation to always look toward African Christianity, even in the American Christianity system, so we can stay connected to our roots. So he going to hold on to that. Boom. He sees that we having a conversation. He feeling amazing. And February 1st, 2015, a day 10 years ago tomorrow, Joe had a couple ministries that meant a lot to him. This prison ministry meant a lot to him. The kids, especially the ones he baptized, the ones in the middle of this pastoral transition, they meant a lot to him. His single mom ministry meant a lot to him. February 1st, 2015. First daughter of this generation of our ministry, Mook Mook, Erica Scott, a Scott woman like Kilky, our first little Scott little girl, died. I had once at a men's day at Ebenezer, Reverend Al Sharpton was a speaker, and he said, you know, the hardest thing for a black minister is to preach the eulogy of an irrelevant Negro. Kind of joked about it. He said, you live a selfish life. Don't do nothing for nobody. One day you got to die. And somebody's going to wheel your body down. And some man or woman or God is going to have to go behind the desk and use your life to inspire others. He said, do us a favor. Give us some content. I laughed and joked about that. But I realized February 1st, 2015, that Reverend Sharpton lied. Because that's not the hardest job of a black preacher. I know my sons get a little wild. I know they get a little hard-headed. They make mistakes. I did too. We all did. I know it is inevitable. We have to eulogize our parents. And I'm not saying that everybody understands this, but I think that every shepherd kind of gets it. When you grow up in these cornerstone churches and you look up to your shepherds and your pastors, and one day you're in that position and you got the babies, then some of your daughters, the ones that, you know, somebody trusted you to change her diaper one day. And she grows up and she goes through every little phase of this ministry. And she's one of your little proud leaders, and she got a baby, got a daughter, end up in the single mom ministry. And she shut her eyes. You got to eulogize her with her daughter there. That was my February 1st, 2015. And so I had her funeral February 11th. Y'all excuse me. And I I don't share this. And it was a Wednesday, so growing up, you always got to have something for the girls, love. So we do something for Valentine's Day, which was Saturday. I went to pick up the phone. I went to call Joe, and he died. Mama Robert said, "You're too late. You sleep." It's cool, I'll call back. She said, "No, KJ, he sleep." And Youth Day had already been scheduled. Nobody cared enough about this youth department to reschedule it. Friday, we had Joe's music tribute. And Saturday, we had his funeral. Sunday, made the kids have youth day. They just watched their parents and the grandparents when they get up there. Go ahead and, well, let me tell you about one. I'll get to this text and preach us out of here. I thank y'all for bearing with me. Let me tell you about one who, when Warnock came, he was a little toddler. He was a little jit. When my son was a toddler, they were in our toddler choir. It's called the Cherub Choir. And we just celebrated all of the women who really poured into that youth department. Brenda Davenport. There was one woman who was foundational to this entire generation of kids, 25, 26, all of them. She was their Cherub Choir director. She's first one, sent them little praise songs. And our mamas in the black church, they're just our mamas in the black church. They don't always mean nothing by nothing. They just ask questions because they want to ask questions. And part of having a pastor is they always got a first lady. So I don't know what she meant by it, but in the middle of a conference, she said, "To Warnock, you got a girlfriend?" And Warnock threw her out. Had this lady out there picketing, couldn't come into her own church. And I don't want to get involved in that. I'm just saying that the toddlers watched that. They couldn't help but see the impact that it had on the congregation. Because when they went to their little choir rehearsal, they watched the choir director buckling at the knees, trying to keep it together, cracking. And she was a mama of one of their close friends. And so these kids, they fought through that. But that affected them. Fast forward the videotape about a little bit later. The first dude came in here, some weirdo named Wilbur Willis. Yes, there was an incident in 2009, 2010-ish. I know the exact date, but I ain't need to put out there. And he grabbed a little boy butt cheek. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And there was an investigation. No formal results were had. Why? I dealt with it. What did I do? I wasn't a member of Warnock's ministerial team. I was a father of the kids in the congregation. I rode up to Emory. "Wilbur, what's up?" Opened his door room, choked him out, beat his ass, checked on his hard drive. Still got a copy of a whole bunch of boy porn, big adults to little boys, choked him the fuck out, told him if I ever come back to Ebenezer, I was going to break both his legs. So what? Statute of limitation for that shit went over 3 years ago. Get over it. And Okay, why you did it like that? Well, because simultaneous to that, we had another little young buck used to hang out with us by the name of Jaheim Herrera. Now, in 2010, we had a big issue in Fulton County, big bully issue in Fulton County. You know, shout out to Gerald Griggs. He was launching his independent law practice. He was the one who attached the bully issue to Reverend Al Sharpton's NAN conference that he had in Atlanta in 2010 and got us some big issue on it. Shout out to Reginald Crosby, Fulton County Youth Commissioner. Reds put together the Stop the Bull campaign that kind of went. But what was the bully issue? It was Jaheim. Well, what happened with Jaheim? He got bullied in school, and he went home and he hung himself. Well, let's go a little bit deeper. What was the bully issue? Somebody called him gay. So, understanding the impact that it had, I was never going to allow that to happen to any of our boys. I bring up Tyson because, you know, he was adopted. Not that that matters, but his biological his father, which was one of the preachers of the team, died. So everybody in this congregation knows what this one little boy has gone through. Fuck all the adult shit. This is one little boy. This is one. Just one. Just one. I know it's 10,000. I know it's press, but one matters. Just one. One matters. And in the middle of all of it, many of you will hear, we did some astronomical things. It's not me. It's God through me, all like that. And there was a lot of things that, November 3rd, 2020, like, all right, I was leaving a voting rally. Everybody hyped up to vote. Woo. Philadelphia. I'm headed to the listening party in Delaware, pulled over, extracted from my car, shot up with a bunch of tasers, whatever. A lot. It's one thing when you're on the backside. Something happens and they're calling you. And you're responding with the word, and you're doing this or you're doing that. In response to police brutality, it's something different. When you're looking down the barrels, you can see them in the chamber. A motherfuckers with bats talking about, drop the gun. You ain't got no gun. What the fuck are you talking about? I dropped my pants. Only weapon I got useless unless you're a pretty girl. Riddle me with tasers instead of shot me with a PB, deny my ability to vote. Boom, y'all get all that. But you know what goes through your mind right then? My daughters and these kids. And after all that stuff, what didn't I do? I hadn't set up an infrastructure for my son. And I found out, Tyson was in a suicidal position. You going back, now I heard, and I get it, right? Shannon always stiff-armed a little anything rough, rugged, and raw, because he can't adapt to it. He can't talk to it. He's not equipped for it. But the new group, like, bro, you just coming in. And this is the son of this joint. Like, why y'all not plugging him into something with housing? This Ebenezer, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Just one of the kids. He was baptized by Joe. This don't matter. He homeless. Somebody giving him a job. Somebody. I know how many times I fucked up and Senator Leroy Johnson pulled me in the fucking trustee meeting or in the deacon meeting or something. Hell no. Because he don't got nowhere, and we know we ain't got nowhere, and we us. No, we don't. So that's what walked me in. And we went through a whole lot because I understand transitions in leadership. I understand a whole bunch of different things. But I also understand this is not my assignment. Like, my son got it. This is, simultaneous. The Obama Foundation, my brother's keeper, Reg again, Fulton County, bringing all the men together. First and third Saturday since summer of 21. So I'm tapping into that. I'm busy. I'm flying. I got the church up here. I got a bunch of other young bucks doing a bunch of other projects. I love this. These are my young bucks that I've raised. We're not talking about the next generation. This is my next generation. Shout out to my boys. They didn't shut down, but they was down at Auburn and Hilliard with the Atlanta Breakfast Club. We got a little training center. We raising our boys our own. They don't know nothing about it, but you ain't did nothing. So since you coming in, we want you to participate. Because we can't get real estate down here, and you got the hub for us to bring able to put all the boys in. So we like, all right, whatever, but you stiff arming, all like that, boom, whatever. And so I had the nerve to get caught up in a outreach issue. Well, no. The truth is, no. Warnock never did do no damn outreach. Well, is that because Shannon was supposed to do it and didn't do it? It don't matter. You're going to do it now? Come on. Come on. Come on. We got tons of folk. Need tons of stuff. You done fundraise tons of money, tons of grants. Let's get to it. Not no little damn quick salami sandwiches, because we done fed those already. All right? We in the hood. We got black mamas. We know how to make that money stretch. And we realize what you putting outside, that's about $250 a weekend. Sorry, homie. Especially because I miss my folk. And they like, Kay. And at some point, I don't know where they did it. We was doing like $3,500 a month. Just feeding the folk with love. And you get seven, well, ain't gonna get all that. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway. Then they got the nerve to have a person die twice. And I ain't getting into that. I'm sorry. This stuff is so charged. I want to center on this thing that was preached last Sunday about the real Jesus. And folks say, well, okay, why are you doing it like that? Why are you exposing them? I tried to talk to him for 2.5 years. You see what you see? Me getting prosecuted. They done already did this to our sons. So now that I'm doing it, fighting for our sons, giving our sons a voice, we're going to do it to you. We're going to do it to you. We're going to do it to you. We get these boys out of here. No, this is their home. And it gets to a point where you see one of my sons, these are boys in the neighborhood, ready to bust a gun. He not a bad dude. They can get guns easier. They can get library cards. So since his gun is legal, he's working security on the detail. But we talk about emotional intelligence. He identifies me as his shepherd, as his pastor, as his believing soldier general, right? And he realizes at a young age, he was able to come in Ebenezer. Now he can't come in. They get hyped up thinking Ebenezer coming out to meet him. They looking and they see Ebenezer fundraising, talking about they about to help him. Then you locking me up, trying to be a bridge to get them to the table because Warnock will never have a real conversation. I'm ready to bust my gun. Chill. So we have to show them how, in this capacity, to keep fighting through it, keep persevering through it. Right now, we was having talks with Vaughn. He stopped answering the phone. He don't return emails. He think, oh, I'm just sucking cake. No, you actually sucking the children. You're sucking our parents. We're trying to gauge you as a village because Warnock not here. This city don't know you. The community don't know you, right? All we know about you is that we had Donald Trump and all the funding for education got shut down. You pop up, Biden in office, you get control of $4 million grant from the U.S. Education Department. Next thing we know, Trump back, they talking about cutting funding. You the only nigga that got the bag during the Biden administration, but you don't help fucking nobody. Nobody. Do nothing for nobody. Nobody knows you. Everything about you is a fake. You say you against Shannon, but y'all doing the same shit. Then, when you talk about you want to have a conversation, I show you your staff member. Staff member of the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church calls me a nigger. Say he gonna fuck me up. Say he gonna beat my ass. Then call the police and say I'm aggressive. The fuck? Any other person who didn't have this amount of self-restraint would have cracked somebody's fucking head. You got Shannon, 3 of our boys get shot in Oakland City. 2 of them die. This fucker calls a prayer rally, pulls up to the prayer rally, 20 minutes late, doesn't get out and pray, rolls the window down and tells me in front of the boys, don't make me get out and fuck you up. Rolls his window up and drives off. Hold on, homie. We've been getting these boys together for the past 3 years. Nobody knows you. That's what you put out. Now, none of y'all know. None of y'all care about. You have no presence in our community, no presence in the life of our children. But outside of just the teen violence, we dealing with suicide amongst our boys. And, we asked them, why are you doing this to yourselves? No one cares. Well, let's look. We look at the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church that from Daddy King to Joe Roberts, like one of Joe's last wishes was to have a school for these boys. You stiff-arm the boys. We look over at Urban Concerned Clergy, where the previous executive pastor is going to, and, you know, trying to get paid off of the boys. He not paying his bills, and then got Urban Concerned Clergy evicted from their office. This is the clergy body. They got evicted from their office and they rent from a church. You done burned the church, still trying to fundraise. Then December, there was two boys that got shot. Him and Tim McDonald on Concerned Black Clergy doing a promo. Are we going to do this? Put some money in the boys' pocket, lower teen violence, because they know the program the boys got, shun it. Day before King Holiday, 2 days before, homeless man murdered across the street from the sanctuary. Who you see on the news? Concerned Black Clergy. Everything is fake. All camera optics. Y'all don't do shit for nobody. And what you do for the adults is one thing. Well, Joe said they're going to cater to the adults because they want the votes. Well, watch this. You stapled now. And the big challenge that everybody wants is to secure their position. You know the only way you secure your position? With the youth vote. You know what matters to the youth? Their issues, their life. You know, my spiritual pop, William Gray, said, you niggas, you know, you had Daniel Crawford or Devon Crawford, whatever it is. You run End Mass Incarceration. You don't relate to no part of the hood. So you know why they put Devon Crawford at the head of the End Mass Incarceration Movement? Because you know who is most taken advantage of by mass incarceration? Black and urban males. Primarily black males, but urban males. Okay? And you put a Devon Crawford up there, and I'm going to tell you what Devon does. Devon doesn't look like he could last 3 minutes in the hood, urban environments our boys and our men have to navigate through every day. So it's no way that you can be our advocate for our biggest issue when you can't even relate to us. You talk about your Jesus, and it was a political ploy. Why? Because you're going to San Francisco to be Kamala Harris's fucking pastor, so you had to get a good joint. Let me tell you about our Jesus. The Daddy King Jesus. The Will Gray Jr. Jesus. The Whitfield Nottage Jesus. The William Gray III Jesus. The Joe Roberts Jesus. The Leon Sullivan Jesus. The Martin Luther King Jr. Jesus. Let me tell you about the Jesus of the hood, the Jesus of the bottom, the one who wasn't like your clique, who won all them accolades, but the one who made of himself no reputation, who took all of his titles, took all of his positions, took all that shit and put it to the side and got down and washed feet. Now, to come and for them to be sitting at the table in and of itself was a cultural contradiction. Because when you came to the house, the lowest servant was at the door, right? Who washed the travels off your feet, saying to coming into the house was to be a refreshment. This is why the Horizon Sanctuary is designed like an African hut. You know, the African house. So when you come into the house, it's to be like a refreshment. I know I'm in Matthew 28. I just want to go to Matthew 21. Don't run there, 12th chapter, because in this house, you know, all you new niggas, we don't know where you came from. You're not in our village. Jesus, you know, this is what we're talking about. The real Jesus. He dealt with his father's house, Matthew 21:12. And Jesus entered the temple and drove out all of those who sold and brought in the temple. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons, getting paid off of pimping the pulpit. He said to them, "It is written." How did Run DMC say it? Let me give you some hip hop. This is my house. And when I say whose house, y'all niggas know what time it is. Whose house? God's house. I'm in the house, say what? I'm in the house, say what? I'm in the house. Matthew 21:13, Jesus said, "It is written, You have turned my house into a house of thieves when it should be a house of prayer. And all that were blind, the kids, they were looking for an example of Jesus. Let me how would Daddy King say? Let me make this one plain. I don't have a dry erase board, but let me try to work with what I got. You know what I mean? Imagine what we could do if we had accessibility to that federal budget that you using. If we had accessibility to all them donations you manipulating our community out of. Got all them folk thinking you actually doing something for our boys and our community, but you a poverty prostitute. You know what I mean? You pimping the hood. Who looking? Our kids is looking. You know what they looking for? What Crawford said he was looking for but couldn't provide. They're looking for some representation. They're looking for an example of who? Jesus. Now I'm gonna teach you. I know you went to the slave master school, but maybe you never grew up in our black Baptist schools. Our mamas used to give us something called that's what Vaughn and them trying to do with you. It's called fill in the blank, right? And what would happen is mama and them would give us the answer in the back, right? And see if we use you, then CH, put you in the middle, MP. Our kids would see Jesus as a chump. So we're going to get you up out of there. Okay? And I don't know if you can tell I was born for such a time like this. So we're going to go ahead and put the A in there. So our children can see Jesus as a champ. Because rather than our kids see Jesus as a chump or as a champ, it's all about who in the middle. And my guy, your methods, ineffective. Some people say unethical, but I ain't going to go there. Listen, Matthew 21:14, and the blind, those that were looking for a picture of the real Jesus, the living Jesus, the glorified Christ. Yeah. And the lame, it does something to a man when he's unable to stand on his own, right? When he's unable to stand on his own 2 feet. But it doesn't matter what circumstance. It doesn't matter what situation. It doesn't matter what you're going through. If you can come to a place where the word of God can be made plain and practical and relevant in your life, then regardless of what it is, you can stand 10 toes down against all the spiritual wickedness and high places. And the one place you should be able to learn how to stand is Auburn and Jackson Avenue. You should be able to come by here. Yeah. That's what Mama and them used to say. Well, just meet us here where the Lord pop up. Come by here, my Lord. Come by here. Oh, Lord. These niggas done went ham. Can you please come by here? Why? Your children need you, Lord. Come by here. Listen, man. Listen. When you're able to stand, because those that were blind, those who were lame, they ain't come to see Crawford. They ain't come to see Vaughn. They ain't come to see Warnock. They ain't come to see me. They ain't come to see none of us. They came to see Jesus. I'm in Matthew 21:14. When they came to him in the temple, and you know what he did? He healed them. That's what the word does. They were blind. That's what the gospel does. It opened the eyes of the blind. Yeah. He healed them. But when, here they go. When the chief priests and the scribes, oh Lord, and the National Park Service, oh Lord, and Vaughn, when they saw the wonderful things that I didn't do it, who did it? That Jesus did it. When they saw the kids that were upset, crying out into the temple, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were ignorant. And they said to him, do you hear what these are saying? And Jesus said, yes. Have you never read, out the mouths of babes and infants, we have heard a perfected praise. And he was out. Now, Matthew 18, I'm in the first verse, because he prioritized some things for us. We talk about the real Jesus, not the counterfeit one, not the political one, the kingdom one. The government will be upon his shoulders, but the kingdom, not the country. Matthew 18:1. At that time, the disciples, the real students of Jesus. Folk talking about, well, this Christian, is you a white evangelist Christian? Is you this type of Christian? Is you that type of Christian? I don't identify with Christian, because that term can be used too loosely nowadays. If we talk about what Jesus said, he never called you a Christian. Acts, they were in Antioch, and idolaters. Who are those? Those who worship idols. They called them, you move like a Christ. You talk like a Christ. You heal like Christ. You're like a little Christian. Yeah. Some of y'all little LeBronians. A lot of y'all running around, you don't never say Jesus, but you say Martin Luther King. You like a little Martin Luther Kingians. I mean, you are a disciple. Guess what? John the Baptist had disciples. You know who else had disciples? Socrates. You know who else had disciples? Aristotle. Disciples are just students. And at that time, Matthew 18:1, at that time, the students came to Jesus. Dean K. Urban CS University, y'all my students. Y'all like my little disciples. I love y'all almost as much as the Father, on behalf of the Father. At that time, the students came to Jesus. I'm not Jesus, I'm an empty vessel. Saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Interesting question. Because that's what everybody want to be over there. I want to be great. I want to be great. I want to be this. I want to be that. Well, my nigga, chill out for a minute and let's see what Jesus said. Because you niggas is talking about Jesus, but we never quote him. And Matthew 18:2, and calling to him a child, he put him in the midst of them and said, truly I say to you, unless you turn and become like these children, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. What he's saying, Frederick Douglass said the same thing. It's easier to build children than it is to repair broken men. Because you done did this shit so wrong that when God come give you how to get it done the right way, you're going to play all these games. Whoever humbles himself like the child is the greatest in the kingdom. Watch. And whoever receives one like this child in my name receives me. So what that mean? If you stiff arming the kids for these political votes, I know the kids not popular. Okay? They're not old enough to vote, and they too young to have stable enough jobs where you can pre-plan your budget based on their tithes and offerings. So they ain't a high priority unless it's election or installation time. I understand. So we ain't worried about receiving them. We stiff arming them. This red letter. So we talk about Jesus. I mean, this is some things we need to look for. They high priorities. They're paramount principles, especially in the life of the pastor. Matthew 18:6, but whosoever, watch, causes one of these little ones to believe watch this. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin. Now, watch this. We're not talking about no action, because Bible written in Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic. And the Hebrew meaning of the word sin is rebellion from the Father. Y'all know the prodigal son? You watch that clip of me walking Tyson back. He coming back to the Father. He coming back to his father's house. He coming back to the principles of God that have been instilled in him since a child, and he finna get stiff-armed. But whosoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, to be rejected from me, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and be dropped in the depth of the sea. So don't get mad at me because I'm putting these niggas dirt out. Okay? Right here, see, this is the problem I got. I done studied this word so much that I'm looking at him like a father. Like, Father, does this mean I get to get him? No, it means you get to get him. Now listen now. Let me skip down to verse 10. I had to spend some time here. This is an all red letter chapter if you don't notice. Okay? Matthew 18, a lot of red letter here. Look googly moo. I'm in the words of Jesus. Let me skip down to 18:10 because I had to tussle with the Father in the closet with this. Let me give you some what he gave me. Matthew 18:10. See that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I tell you that in heaven, their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. What do you think? If a man has 100 sheep and one of them has gone astray, does he not leave the 99 on the mountain and go in search of the one who went astray? And if he finds it, truly, I say to you, he rejoices over it more than over the 99 that went astray. And if he finds it, truly I say to you, he rejoices over it more than the 99 that never went astray. And if he finds it, truly I say to you, he rejoiced over it more than over the 99 that never went astray. So it is not the will of my Father who is in heaven that one, this is not the Father's will, that one of these little ones should perish. Not that we fundraise for them, not that we tell everybody, but that we really rocking with them. There's a difference. In the heritage, we ain't always had the money. But we always had the will of God. We always had the heart. We always had the commitment of the community. Across the street now, everybody rich. And don't nobody do shit for nobody. Now, Kay, how can you do it like that? Because this is what the Bible told me to do. If you missed it, I've been talking to her for like 2.5 years. That's longer than a couple days. Let's keep reading. We still in Matthew. We in 18:15. I'm in this red letter. Jesus said, if your brother sins against you, go tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you done gained a brother. I talked to Vaughn. Hey, Vaughn, boom, we could do so much. Okay, great. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of two or more witnesses. My phone might be too bright, but how many of y'all love the fact that I'm dealing with this in the book? Not in my flesh. These are my sons, though, so y'all know. Women got titties, and they a nurturer. I'm Papa Bear. I kill. But if he does not, Matthew 18:16, but if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence or two or three witnesses. That's why so many clips. That's why so much evidence. Because Jesus said if you don't believe me, look at the works. Look at the evidence. I know they say this, they say that. Look at the clips. It shouldn't be this many clips. It's no way. Well, look. Well, I ain't know they was doing it. Well, here's what your staff doing. You ain't know they was doing it. Well, you didn't reprimand them. You didn't fire them. They still there. So that means that you haven't reprimanded them. You've empowered them. So this is what you are intentional about. Verse 17. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. Tell it to the body of Christ. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile or a tax collector. Fuck them niggas. The kids don't even want to kick it with them no more. We on the 10-year anniversary of coming up on the celebration of life of Reverend Dr. Joseph Orange Roberts. On tomorrow, we're going to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Mook Mook. And you know what? They did this shit at Deacon Marvin Prince's desk. After I leave Mook Mook's memorial, I got to go to Mark, Deacon Brinson's son's funeral. These niggas don't give a fuck about nobody. on acknowledged shit. Then Monday, even though they done did all this other shit, I got to walk in a sanctuary in order to be there for Cornelius. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. And again, I say to you, if 2 or 3 of you, listen, I love y'all almost as much as the fathers on behalf of the fathers. You want to know what this is about? It's about our children. You remember Moses? Mr. I've been to the mountaintop, seen the promised land. Well, Moses died. Martin Luther King Jr. called it death, life's common denominator, that thing we all call death. And then after that, you know what happened? Then we got Aaron and them niggas playing little money games. Well, then we got Joshua. And everything rises and falls on leadership. Moses is poised, polished, and postured. Joshua is militant. Okay? The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, they're mighty for the pulling down the strongholds that Satan has on the minds of our children. But you know what? And Moses was one prophet. The next prophet in our line was Samuel. And Samuel had to be used by God to give us 2 kings. The first king, because God has always been the king of these people. And these folk, they wanted a king. They wanted an Aaron. They wanted a Saul. And he raped them. He took advantage of all this shit. And God was not pleased. And you know what? He anointed another young king, David. And David has stepped up and helped Saul when he was up against Walker for the Senate. I mean, he helped Saul take out Goliath. And afterwards, you would have thought Saul would have had David back. But instead, the folks are saying, well, Saul killed 1,000, but David killed 10,000. And then David, you know, he chilling, but Saul feels emasculated. Saul start hunting David with the same military force David was just leading when nobody else could. The Bible says David runs into a cave. And if you'll meet me really fast, I'm done. I'm gonna get you out of here. I just want to give you some praise. And when David runs into a cave, I'm in Psalms 142. David runs into the cave, and I want to point out to you, Saul has the military pursuing him. Saul is sending law enforcement after David. Saul is sending the National Park Service after David. Saul is pursuing David with the spear and with everything else allowed. And David in the cave, a little bit depressed, is crying out to God. Y'all saw my eyeballs sweating. Saul is using physical weapons. David is using spiritual weapons. I want you to understand this, all my boys, when you watch what I go through. And you see many instances where I could bust my gun, like my young buck said, seeing what they doing made him want to do. Or I can smack somebody. That's not a real man. That's a false sense of masculinity. That's what they setting you up to try to get you to do. But you pull out that spiritual weapon, that weapon of patience, that weapon of strength, that weapon of humility, that weapon of love, that weapon of perseverance, that weapon of meekness. Tell them niggas don't take my meekness for weakness. And even though they don't understand it, you do. Then when you rely on your spiritual weapons, here's what happens. See, the weapons that you depend on in the most crucial moments, they're a direct reflection of which ones you have the most confidence in. When you look at Saul and all his political power, when you look at Warnock and all his political power, you look at Vaughn, all his political power, you look at Isaac with all his political power, throwing whatever they can like that, cool. That's what they got confidence in. But when you look at the believing soldier battalion, when you look at me as your commander, when you look at any of the other generals telling you to go in the closet in prayer, when you look at David going as a king, not as a clown like these weirdos, when you see David going into the closet as a king, praying to God, that's the spiritual weapon. All of y'all should have been on Christ's platoon on Wednesday, because our spiritual weapon specialist, General Vaps 1, he talked about the power of going in. And repenting on your spiritual weapons. Let me get y'all out of here. I love y'all. Friday freestyle off the dome. Listen, Psalms 142, a masket when he was in the cave, a prayer for David. With my voice, I cry out to the Lord. With my voice, I plead for mercy to the Lord. I pour out my complaint before him. I tell my trouble before him. When my spirit faints within me, and you know my way. In the path where I walk, they have hidden a trap for me. I look to right and see there is none who takes notice of me. No refuge remains to me. No one cares for my soul. David depressed. Notice what he does though. He ain't busting his gun. He frustrated. He ain't punching nobody in the face. Psalms 142:5. I'm reading from the ESV. He says, I cry out to you, O Lord. I say, you are my refuge. You are my portion in the land of the living. Attend unto my cry, for I have been brought very low. Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are too strong for me. Bring me out of this prison that I'm in, that I may give thanks to your name. The righteous will surround me, for you will deal bountifully for me. Now listen, he cries out to God for the righteous. 1 Samuel 22. David departed from there and escaped to the cave of Absalom. And when his brothers in his father's house heard it, they went down to him, and everyone who was in distress, and everyone who was in debt, and everyone who was bitter in soul, they gathered to him, and he became commander over them. And there were with him about 400 men. I got your back. I'm on your side. Now notice David, right? Where were we? Matthew. I'm talking about the kids. 21. Not those kids, our kids. Matthew 21:12. Don't miss it. And Jesus entered into the temple and he drove out all those who sold and brought into the temple. I want you to understand something. Back in biblical antiquity, you had to sacrifice some doves. They ain't had them big things that y'all be pushing. They ain't had that. They had to walk. And so you could get a dove from the corner store for 50 cents. But it was hard to carry you and the children and the animals. And so it made more sense, since you got to walk for 3 days, instead of carrying this 50-cent dove for 3 days, when I get to this temple, I'm going to just buy a dove at the temple. But what these folks were doing in the temple was they were selling 50-cent doves for $5. They knew that in order for you to get in position, based on the old covenant, based on you to be able to get into what God had for you, you had to sacrifice. So what they did was they found a way to get paid off of the sacrifice. This is what these folks were doing. So Jesus says, look, you niggas, they bought and sold. Jesus went in and flipped the table. What the frick is going on up in here? The seed of those who serve pigeons. Okay, not doves, pigeons. Y'all get what I'm talking about. Matthew 21:13. And he said to them, it's written. You know what that means? That means that even though it's new to us, God already made it happen. You know, God told Isaiah, it's applicable to us. My ways above your ways, my thoughts above your thoughts. God lives in eternity. He places us in time. Time are little ounces of measurement so that we can see the promises of God manifesting in our life. He said, Isaiah 46. You ain't got to turn there. I'm in the dome right now. It's a Friday freestyle. You know, we faith filled over here. Isaiah 46, 9, 10. I'm God alone. I'm God. It's not like me. What do you mean? I'm running this and not you. Sit down. Slow down. Humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. In time I will exalt you, but until then, check yourself or you wreck yourself. Then he says, I make the end known. There we go. From the beginning, there it is. And from the beginning, things that are not yet complete. It's already done, but it's not yet complete. The psalmist, y'all know I love the praise. The psalmist 139, help me. I ain't going to turn there. Rock out with me. Somebody fact check me. 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, I just got happy. He said, listen, all the days of my life. There we go. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Oh, they were written. All the days of my life were written. Where were they written? In the Lord's book. When? Before they first began. Here's what that means. Mama and them, they used to say, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know in whose hand hold tomorrow. They were saying, I don't know if I'll get a next week, but watch this. If I get a next week, God wrote my next week before he gave me last week. Matthew 21:13. Y'all are done. Get up out of here. He said to them, it is written. What is written? It is written, my house. I told y'all. Whose house? My house. I'm in the house, say what? I'm in the house, say what? I'm in, check it out. It is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer. We're not talking kumbaya Easter speak. John 15, come to me. Come to me. Jesus said, I'm the vine. My Father is the vine dresser. No tree can bear fruit. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about being fruity. Hey, fruity. We fruitful. It's a difference. What was the first commandment? Be fruitful. I'm just trying to line it up. Prayer. What is the essence of prayer? Because the problem, I feel the Holy Ghost. The problem is you got access to this guru, God. Knows it all, wrote it all, knows all the problems. You got a 15-minute window, and you're sitting down with the guru who can change your life just like that. And you got 15 minutes, tight schedule. You spend 14 and a half minutes telling him all about the problems he know. Thank him. And his son name, get up and leave. It's the stupidest thing in the world. It just don't make no sense. Jesus said, he knows. Sit down, shut up, and let him minister to you. Prayer, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about getting in the closet. Right? Prayer is getting in perpetual union with the Father through his Son, Jesus Christ. One image, many dimensions. He says this should be a house of prayer. Not when you coming in here getting an Easter speech, but come on in here and let's look at the Word of God, how it practically applies to your life in a way that is inspiring, empowering, that's going to give you motivation, motive for action, for you to press on and press through the circumstance situations that you're encountering so you can fulfill the assignment that God placed on your life. That's what we should be on. But you niggas done made it a den of robbers. And those that were blind, y'all know I love these analogies, right? And those, hold on, let's read the word of God together, right? And those that were blind, oh, we can see them now. And those that were lame, I got some men who can stand up now. They came in the temple, and you know what he did? He healed them. And all these niggas, the chief priests, they was upset. But the children said, Hosanna to the son of what? The son of David. Ain't about me. It's about the kids. I'm not the star. He is. He made of himself what? No reputation. And what's the most important thing? I want to see him. What? Y'all remember that song Mama and them had? Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart so I can see you. Our children, they're looking for a picture of Jesus. And rather not they see him as a champ or a chump. It's all about who in the middle. And I don't know if you can tell. I feel like I was born for such a time as this. I love y'all almost as much as the Father. On behalf of the Father, have a faith-filled, fabulous Friday on purpose. And never forget the Father made you amazing on purpose.